Ifingawan daun, ibibigay mo katan diga baraso ganito ka tagana naman.
I'm Jason Brown from Laughing Parrot Productions and Sierra Wave Media. You're watching Skippable News. However, today you're not going to want to skip. We sit down with Bishop Police Chief Nate Derr and discuss issues of housing and homelessness, the police academy, and ICE. That's right, the calls that Bishop PD has gotten from ICE and how Bishop PD is addressing those issues and a whole lot more. There's no time for me to tell you the top stories at sierrawave.net. You just need to go out there and check them out for yourself. But remember, since 1996, we are your local resource for news, sports, weather, culture, and the people like Chief Nate Derr who shape it. I'm Jason Brown with Laughing Parrot Productions, Sierra Wave Media. Skippable News here, and I have Chief Derr from the Bishop Police Department. It's been a while since we've had Chief in. I understand you had a little bit of a surgery.
I did.
Is that okay to talk about?
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just some, knee surgery. So
Yeah.
I was still around, but I
Of course
was
you
out
were.
for a little bit. So I was out, so I wasn't around too much.
Everything
but
feeling better?
feeling a lot better.
Good.
Yeah, back to almost 100%.
We're getting to that part in life, right?
Sometimes when you use stuff enough, it just starts to give out, right?
It does.
Need to give a little cleanup.
Yeah,
But
I always say it's not the amount of miles, it's the type of miles that
It
we
is
put
true.
on our bodies. And I know I put too many off-road miles.
yeah, same here. Same here.
So it's good to have you back in the studio. What are some of the major things that are happening? I noticed that you have a second police academy coming up.
Yeah, so there's another community police academy. The first one that Sergeant Scobie organized and put together this last fall was a great success, and he's trying to put one together quickly after to build that momentum.
Yeah.
So that we can keep that rolling. Applications are at the Bishop Police Department. If anyone's interested, there still is a couple spots left. So
Okay.
he limits to 15 students per class just for class dynamics and ratios for teachers and instructors. So it's more hands-on, and a lot of it is he likes a lot of question asking, and then if you have too many people, then the timeline gets messed up, and so he has it very, very strategically planned. So there is still some open spots. You can grab a application at the police department. That'd be great, and then from there on, we'll continue to implement them throughout.
Right. Is there a cost associated with that?
No, it's completely free of
Completely free.
charge. There's even going to be a couple times where there's some meals donated that some local businesses reach out to help. And last academy, the tribe pitched in and did the graduation dinner.
Yeah.
So that was good. And we've had the bowling alley reached out. They said that they'd be willing to provide some meals and stuff. So that was so the businesses are getting involved. It's a cool little community outreach and like learning and lessons, and it gives a good glimpse on local law enforcement and how things are done.
What a great community of the people that give back and help with the meals and stuff for this. And talking about the bowling alley, it was so exciting the other day seeing Jason Forehands that earlier come back into town, and they ended there and had a hoorah, what do you call it?
It was those
a moment.
Yeah, it's been great. The last several people that have returned from either a deployment or their finishing of their service, it's been great that we've been able to be a part of welcoming them in along with the other first responders in the area, and kind of give them a show of appreciation for their service as they come back into our community.
Yeah.
So
been wonderful. So we saw some stuff, or we were also talking about it off camera, this license plate recognition. So do I need to be worried while driving down 395?
Not if you're doing nothing wrong. So there's a huge misconception. I tried to, at our last council meeting, address some of that.
Okay.
So it's not the type of system that's going to be, it's not like a red light camera down south where you...
Pause on the red light camera. Didn't they find that to be not constitutional and have, if you don't appear for those tickets, they get thrown out?
So there is...
Is that right or wrong from the state?
There is still, it's in litigation.
It's
at
in
this time.
litigation.
So
Okay.
so it's not going to be expanding.
Okay, got it.
These
Sorry to derail
No,
you there,
no,
but I
that's
was just
fine.
like, hey, I thought I heard something there on that. Okay,
Yeah.
so these cameras.
These don't have that kind of technology anyways.
Okay.
So they simply are, yeah, they take snapshots of license plates that go by.
Okay.
The only thing that we really have access for them for is if there's, I mean, we can use them for traffic counts, but that
Okay.
just gives numbers.
Right,
And
right.
that helps us more on the public works side to be able to plan for our roads and our flow of traffic and
Like
ingress,
President's
egress.
Day when everybody was heading south.
Yeah, it was busy yesterday. It was very busy yesterday. We got lucky on that procession coming in too.
Yeah, going northbound.
Yes. But so that we can use them for that.
Okay.
But that doesn't give like any of your personal data. That just gives numbers.
Okay.
And also, but the rest of it is more of a passive monitoring system. So the only thing that is active on it is if an agency within the system reports that there's like an Amber Alert for a missing child.
That's what I was going to ask you,
or
yeah.
Silver Alert or a Feather Alert or all of those
Yeah.
alerts that they put in there. Or if there's a wanted vehicle, there's a stolen vehicle, there's a stolen license plate, any of those that get entered in the system, those will give us an alert when they pass our cameras.
Is it in like an immediate alert?
It is.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Cool.
it's immediate alert, happens right at the time, and those will activate, and then we can go track that vehicle and make an enforcement stop. And
Wow.
So hopefully, I mean, it would be good to solve crimes across the state that way because there's a network across the state.
Right.
We cannot share per California law with outside of our own state agencies, right?
Oh.
Local agencies like anywhere from San Diego to up Northern California, but it only can share within the California agencies,
What
right?
and that's a law on the books. So like if someone was heading out 6 and they made it to Nevada, you can't tell Nevada that there's an Amber Alert?
That is, well, they can tell them there's an Amber Alert.
Okay.
It's just we can't share our ALPR data with.
Got it. I got it. So the data itself can't leave the state, but you could notify via phone or whatever that a vehicle that was on an Amber Alert is heading up Highway 6.
Yeah, we can do. Yeah, we can
Okay.
communicate in certain ways, but we
Okay.
can't share that data.
You can't share the actual data.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and
Just checking.
No, definitely. And we can't give that data to agencies outside. We select, we own the data. We select who has access to the data.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then we enter our own stuff if we do have like a missing child or whatever it may be. I mean, that's obviously the extreme, or a wanted subject or a wanted vehicle. And then if it picks in a different area, it'll do it as well.
Okay.
The other way to use it is in a reactive way of a investigation. So say there's a white Honda Accord that was involved in a burglary downtown or in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a time frame that it's in. We can put those parameters in and it'll give us the license plate associated with whatever, a white Toyota Camry within the time frame that we put it, and that will narrow our selection of suspects, right? It narrows down our suspects.
All right.
So then we can go out and we still have to do the police work to be able to do it, but it gives us technology to speed up our investigations and helps us to solve crimes a lot quicker. It also is a preventative deterrent because when people know and see that kind of stuff between ALPRs and regular live view cameras, it slows down. It's statistically proven to prevent crime, which is our ultimate goal.
Of course, yeah.
And then it also helps us solve crimes faster. So the data that we have within that it takes is the same data that we get from DMV, like when we go and run a license plate. So it doesn't go beyond, it doesn't give us superpowers of tracking your vehicle, and it doesn't give like live time tracking throughout to track you all over the place. So
you got to get a little machine out there that when it sees it shoots one of those apple tiles onto the side of the car.
There is technology like that. God. There is technology like that. It's not, employed, and with law enforcement, you have to have a warrant or exigent circumstances to be able to do that anyways. Otherwise, so it's not a violation of people's rights.
Right.
Yeah. So
The
this
Fourth
is
Amendment there.
this is not as intrusive as a lot
Gotcha.
of people suspect.
Think
which,
it's going to be, right.
exactly. And I don't.
I remember talking, I know I'm interrupting you, but
No,
I
no.
remember talking quite a long time ago about this, that it was just basically there to help with like Amber Alerts, stolen cars, and vehicles like that. So, and I like the idea of what you're talking about. If there was a crime and it was identified with a vehicle, you could track within that vicinity those vehicles that went by.
Yeah.
It's not out there to get the good guy or anything. You're safe.
No, if you're driving up and down our roadways and highways, and ours is focused on the downtown stuff.
Right.
We don't want to get into people's
No.
neighborhoods, so to speak, because it is a balance between, providing safety but not getting over evasive, and we don't
Right.
want to be in people's
But be
business.
honest, we're a highway that runs south, north, north, south, whatever you want. Drug trafficking, all kinds of things are going on, and this system will help identify some of those individuals and hopefully curb some of that crime.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And that's our ultimate goal.
Yeah.
So it's not to monitor or watch people. If you're driving up and down the road all the time, we're never gonna be accessing your data.
No, I'll just be waving.
So it's it's not that evasive, and we don't
Yeah.
want to watch everyone.
No,
Trust me.
no, and it's just basically things that get flagged. What else is happening? Homelessness. What's going on with that around here?
Yeah, it's obviously been in the paper recently, and some other news media outlets that have gotten wind that over the last couple months there's been a rash of a couple. There was there's 3 incidents actually, but someone unreported, but of transients getting assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to start an investigation. It was a little challenging in the beginning because some of the transit people didn't want to come forward, which is hard to try to, we don't want to make victims, but we don't want people to be victimized,
right,
and not feel secure to be able to come and talk to us.
Right.
So we were able to get some suspects identified. We were able to get some enough probable cause to be able to at least file charges with juvenile probation to be able to, because they're all juveniles. So
wow.
To move forward on that end, we didn't put anything out big in the beginning. I mean, we held back a lot because of the privacy of the victims involved, and because of the suspects being juveniles and minors, that we were unable to put that forward anyway. So we didn't make big news of it, but that could have been a misstep on our part, because obviously people are curious about it now, and so they've been asking. So we have nothing to hide on it. We'll be more open to talking about it, but it is our case is actually done and filed and already gone.
But it's juveniles, you're not allowed to talk about it.
No.
So, and that's what people don't understand. If you're under the age of 18 and they've committed a crime, they have different rights than an adult does. So
yes.
They cannot be discussed. That's an interesting thing, though, that you talked about, that some of the homeless people didn't want to come forward after being assaulted. ICE.
Yes.
And you guys came out, and a lot of people got upset that you weren't going to get involved in helping ICE. And I did not interpret that really that way. I interpreted it from the perspective that just like these homeless people, you don't want them to become targets, and you want them to feel safe to be able to call for protection. Am I correct in that?
Very correct.
So could you enlighten us a little bit more? I mean, I know this is a huge topic. It's dividing a lot of people. And I'd love you to shed light, if you could, on that joint press release between you and the Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, that's just like you said, like the balancing act that we have to have is we don't want anyone to feel like they can't come talk to us. We don't want anyone to be victimized, right? Like we are here to protect people that are victimized it's part of our code of ethics, right? And part of the Constitution, that we are there to help those who are being victimized. And it doesn't really matter what their immigration or any of their status is, of whatever their identifiers are, right? A victim is a victim, and we're here to help the victim. we're also here not to protect suspects, right? Like
Right.
there's a lot of stuff that's gone soft on suspects, and we're not trying to take that aspect of it as well. But we do, it's a balancing act. And I think overall, I think a lot of things have been blown a little bit out of proportion. Unfortunately, I mean, and very politicized.
Mm-hmm.
And as a law enforcement officer, we are sworn to be apolitical, right?
Right.
When we're on
Same with
duty,
news.
right? Yeah. News, which that's gotten swayed. Law
Oh,
enforcement's
yeah.
gotten swayed as well. Yeah, we're supposed to be apolitical,
Mm-hmm.
even though we have our own political values.
Right.
But when we're on our job, we can't let politics dictate our job. And I think a lot of people have kind of lost also the fact that in law enforcement officers themselves, of what, like you were saying, law or news is supposed to be apolitical,
Right.
but it's become very polarized.
Oh, yeah, very much so. We try to keep it apolitical here.
Yeah, and for us, it's definitely gotten a lot polarized, but we've forgotten the fact that like what we really are is public servants, right?
Mhm.
Like we are ultimate public servants, not here to use our position of authority to impart our politics on anyone else.
Mm-hmm. Tough.
And it is very tough. It's a tough position, right?
Mhm.
We have, we do have our morals and our values that
Mhm.
guide us.
Mm-hmm.
But the politics have gotten so much that it's created fear within people that is unnecessary fear, and everyone's been trying to like push and rule by fear. And as far as like for us, we don't actually make the laws to begin with.
No.
Like our country was founded, for rightfully so, on the fact that it's supposed to work where the people make the laws and the people govern, right?
Mhm.
Not the government over the people, but the people governing, themselves, i.e. through public servants.
Mhm.
So that's why it's set up where the legislative and executive branches make the laws,
Right.
and they're voted in by the people to make laws that the people want.
Right.
They make the laws, and then we take and we enforce the laws.
Right.
But at the same token, we are also the experts and see the groundwork of what goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't mean we should just be quiet about things there, but there's a way, a legal and a process and a way that we impart our knowledge and wisdom to the political side, to the legislative branch and executive branch, for them to weigh and learn from.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the hard thing is some of them obviously are not humble enough to learn or listen. But
Really?
yeah, it would be amazing if we saw a politician actually admit when they were wrong, because we're all human, we're all wrong sometimes.
Mhm,
And you
mhm.
never hear a politician say they're wrong. But so I'll just give an example, and then I'll tie it back into the
Okay.
ICE thing. But so Prop 47, 57, 64, AB 109, all of those things that criminal justice reform over the last decade or so that have come into play, we've been immensely affected by it. It's been this is not just personal opinion, this is statistically driven and
Okay.
everything else as well. It's been a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those have come down, and we have, as law enforcement officials, been bringing up that issue that these are not effective policies that are actually hurting the public safety.
Right.
And so we have used through the channels of our great governmental process
Mm-hmm.
of going through and lobbying with legislators to try to get some of those changed or enacted or redacted, right? So we have, between the California Chiefs Association, which is a network that I'm involved in, that all chiefs are, that
Mhm.
are involved in. State Sheriffs has one as well, where all the sheriffs are involved, and the district attorneys have one as well. All these groups came together and drafted Prop 36. That was overwhelmingly passed by like 70% this last election, or this last election
Right.
cycle. So that's an example of all of that stuff went through. We still had to go by those rules and those
Right.
laws, even though we didn't agree that they were the best for the public. But that's what the public voted the legislation to make the change and make the laws, and that's the laws they made, and that's the laws that we had to enforce or lack thereof enforce.
Mm-hmm.
And so But in the same token, we started to try to impart that wisdom, and we finally got it through on the Prop 36 side to be able to help redact some of it. Doesn't completely overturn, and it's only mostly aimed at the Prop 47 stuff. So we were able to get some of that back by going through that. Granted, it takes time. Everything in government takes time, but we were able to get that back, and we were able to get some of those authorities and powers back to be able to assist us in helping keep the community safe.
Right.
And that's just one way of that it actually worked out, where, you know, just to show that sometimes like we are here just to enforce the laws that are set forth by the legislation and the executive branch that isn't obviously voted in by the people, so that they're governing by the people, not us governing off of our own. And then we impart our wisdom on the other side, legislatively, to be able to get some of those changed, where we did have a win, where we got some of it changed, and we'll continue to work on that side to be able to do so. But there's avenues to do that. Same thing with the immigration enforcement, right?
Right.
So the people vote in who the people vote in, and they make laws and regulations, and then we are set to enforce them. Unfortunately, right now we have our state saying one thing and our federal government saying other, and they're both posturing against each other to be able to, and not having the humility to come together and work together,
Right.
which is frustrating, because then we are made we're put in a gray area in limbo as law enforcement officers, as public servants, to be able to serve the people, and so we don't have as clear a direction. Do I believe that it's going to get ironed out? 100%. I believe in the American way of government, and I think that it's set up that way for a reason, and I think that through legislation, through time, things will be enacted where there is a clear path of what is going forward. And in the meantime, our goal, obviously, when we're in that gray area, is to be able to abide by both state and federal law as much as we can, but overreachingly, just to provide the best service we can to any victim in the area. In the same token, not protecting suspects in doing so. And the good thing is that both the SB 54, that's the state law, and the enforcement of the new laws and executive orders that were signed in federally, neither one of them actually put a massive burden on us at this time to be able to do so. And one of the fortunate things of being in a small community is that we're not as heavily impacted. I mean, I can tell you right now, like, has ICE been in this area? No. Or has ICE contacted us to go out and assist them in helping in like doing like a massive roundup of anyone that's documented and undocumented? No. Do I foresee that in the future? I don't. It could happen. We'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. Hopefully things have been ironed out a little better at the upper levels at that time. Have we been contacted regarding someone like an undocumented subject that is being looked at for criminal conduct? We have. And we have talked to them, and we are more than willing to work with them, because I don't think anyone in this community, it's not a benefit for this community for these type of crimes that have been committed, to be able to hold them out or protect them in any way. So, and we'll stand on that. Like, our ultimate goal is public safety. And if we're
the violent criminal,
if we're pulling that away from, if we're doing anything to not let the process work out, so that we can better protect however way we can our community, then we would be failing to do our job. So, so like I said, I think like a lot of it's based in, I mean, our goal is as public servants to serve the community at the community, at the people's will and the people's choice of how they want it, implemented. Not to always just stand there and grandstand on our own of how we're gonna do things. I don't know if that answers it as
It
well,
kind
but
of does. I mean, it really, really does. It says that if you're contacted about violent offenders, you're going to definitely, cooperate with that side of it. But at the same time, an individual who might be an undocumented worker who is being harassed or having some crime committed against them, to feel free to come forward. They don't have a violent past or something with the criminal record. You're not going to be like, hey, ICE.
no, and we don't.
And that's not your job anyway. And I think a lot of people misconstrue that. Your job is to protect and serve the people regardless, and to make it so that everyone is safe. ICE has their job, Border Patrol has their job, you have your job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's very, and a lot of people get those mixed up of
They do,
different
because you're law enforcement and they're a criminal because they entered the country illegally, and so you should be enforcing. And it's like, it's a different type. That's a federal law.
It's different jurisdiction, right? We don't
Exactly,
we don't
and that
come
makes
in-
it difficult for people to really understand federal law versus
state.
and then there's state. I mean, you got Highway Patrol has a completely different group of rules and boundaries to abide by than what you do. So.
Exactly.
Versus sheriff. I mean, it's just like, jurisdictions and what you can and cannot do.
Yeah. No, there's definitely jurisdictional boundaries. I mean, we don't come and investigate someone for federal tax fraud, right?
Right.
Because we're not the federal government.
Yeah, exactly. And that would be a crime. So it's like, yeah. Anything else you want to share?
What else? I mean, we got Academy. We got.
Yeah, we talked Academy.
We've had a little uptick in vandalism, which hopefully some of this downtown, network of systems will try to help as well. We have made some arrests on that as well.
Okay.
So,
The
that's
BB
been-
shooting thing?
that was
That was a while ago.
yeah, this is more
That's
just
old
regular-
news.
Yeah, that's old news. This is like new, tagging type
Oh,
stuff.
really? Okay.
But, yeah, it's always
Always something.
something, definitely. But yeah, and we don't want ourselves looking like downtown LA with the tagging across the board. So we do have somewhat of an image to uphold.
I'll pitch a tent down on on Main Street. So nothing else?
No, I think that unless you have any
No,
questions,
Chief, it's just nice to have you back. It was a fun conversation. I know ICE and all that kind of stuff can get convoluted and a little difficult to talk about, but we appreciate your honesty, transparency, and educating the public. And it was good to have you back.
yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Chief Derr here from the Bishop Police Department. I'm Jason Brown.
Hello, I'm Theo James, star of the new movie The Monkey from horror legends Stephen King, Osgood Perkins, and James Wan. You won't want to miss the excessive blood, the gore, the crazy kills on the biggest screen possible. The Monkey comes to theaters everywhere February 21st. Get your tickets now.
Riding a llama, that's a strong five.
Yeah. Paddington taking his passport photo. That's got to be 2 marmalades.
Getting stuck in the ship's wheel.
Okay, we're going to give that a 4.
Paddington! And being chased by an enormous boulder.
It's a 5.
It's a 5.
He's being chased by a big boulder. That's got to be 5 marmalades.
Quite high. All 5. Yeah, they're all 5. Yeah. Get ready for Paddington in Peru.
Good idea.
Paddington in Peru. Rated PG. Exclusively in theaters.
Discuss topics such as housing and homelessness. We talk about the